This is your treasurers using QuickBooks Online to manage your chapter's finances. Today we will be covering chart of accounts using lists, accounts receivables, accounts payables, and reconciling your bank statement. As soon as you log in, you will see the home page. Now your home page opens and you immediately see demographics of your company. In graph form, you see your expenses, your profit and loss, sales, your bank accounts, invoices. It's just the overall view of the company and where you stand. There is the navigation map over here to your left. The Create menu is on the top to your right. You click on this icon for some of your daily functions, such as creating an invoice or writing a check. For members, you can create invoices or receive payments. For vendors, you can record an expense, write a check, and using the Pay Bills function. You are also able to enter bank deposits and make transfers from one bank account to another and your journal entries. There's also credit memos, sales receipts, refund receipts. Now, it is important that you update the treasurer's name in QuickBooks. Changing your username and email address will enable HFMA to contact you, also provide you with the name and contact information for HFMA staff. Now from your home page, you go to the right top of your screen and you click on the gear icon. Select User Profile to update your demographic data, and you will need to change information. Just click on the Edit button. So this is your home page. To change your data, you click on the gear icon, you go to User Profile, and you update your demographic data. You would make sure the chapter's president and treasurer's address, phone, and email must be changed to reflect the new officer's information. Do not use someone else's user ID. This is especially important because it will enable HFMA to contact you directly with questions and updates. Please call HFMA in order to change name configurations within the chart of accounts. Some account names cannot be changed to ensure the 990 roll-up is done accurate. So your chart of accounts you would get to using the gear icon at the top right corner of your home screen. You go down to chart of accounts and all of your accounts will click in. It gives you detail type, the name of the account, the account type. You can always view your register by running a report. You can customize these reports, but it will give you a rundown of every transaction, the date, transaction type, the number, if it was a check, and any memos that you put in. So it is always good to put memos in, and it gives you a running balance of that particular account. You can also customize this report however you would like. If you would like just a daily view for the entire year, you can predict any prepayments that you have out there. So for next week, and you can also just do it from date to date. If you want it without cents, you wanted to divide by 1,000, you would just click on these. You click how you want your negative numbers to show up, or if you want them to show in red. These are all the columns you would like to see. So if you want them grouped by account, name, transaction, vendor, day of the week, the year. Any other filters you like? Again, this is for customizing reports. You do not have to customize your reports, and then you would just click Run Report, and this is how your report will show up, however you customize it. This column shows clear, and this we will discuss later when we go into bank reconciliations. Customize, you can save customization, or you can choose just to customize the report the one time. You can email the report, print it out, and these are the columns that you can see. If you want to know the date it was created, who it was created by, and who the report was last modified by. You would just click on those columns using the gear icon here. You could export it to Excel or to PDF by clicking this drop-down button, Export. And if you just hover over it, it'll kind of tell you what the icons mean. And this is how you check register or any of the accounts in your chart of accounts. But again, do not change any of the names within the chart of accounts unless you call HFMA first. Now we'll move on to using lists. Again, for the list from your dashboard screen, which is your home screen. And to get to home screen from any screen, you just click on dashboard and it will take you there. So you click on your gear icon under list, and this is to access the list available. You can also get to your chart of accounts by using the list. So those are the two ways. It's still the same chart of accounts that will show up. It's a different view. Again, you can run the report and customize it as you choose. Your report, not the chart of accounts. And if you're looking for a particular account name, you would just enter it here. And this is a quick way to access any one of your accounts in the chart of accounts. Now, classes and transactions and reports. Class offers the opportunity for you to customize your P&L statement. As we go through the various transactions, we will use the class function to create customized reports that are covered in the final topic of today's session. The class function permits you to isolate revenue and expenses by category. This option allows the user to determine the profit and loss for one meeting or event. The chart of accounts is created using a sub-account, which permit the user to view all the chapter's revenue and expenses. Now your products and service list, which again, from your dashboard or your home page, you click on the gear icon, you go to all lists, and you go to products and services, or you click on the gear icon and you go to products and services. So those are the two ways. Now when you're creating an invoice, it is helpful to have products and service lists populated. For most chapters that are using invoicing, the list should be populated. If starting to invoice this year, or if items need to be added or edited, the products and service list is where this is done. Below is an example list of products and services. Each chapter's products and service list is unique. Now we're going to go to accounts receivable. Now your accounts receivable option. The option to enter invoices and receive payments separately can be performed by a two-step process, which is highly recommended. That way you can keep track of everything individually. Now this option will track and manage the chapter's outstanding accounts receivables using the accrual accounting method. The second option is simpler one-step approach. This shortcut method will let you receive payments immediately by using deposits on the banking menu. Now, creating the AR invoice. From your home screen, the following procedures apply to cash receipts using the two-step accounts receivable method of creating the invoice and receiving a payment on the invoice. So at the top right, you click on your Create menu. Under Customers, you go to Invoices, and now you have a blank invoice that's ready to be created. Creating a member or vendor can be done by just typing in a member name in the member box. Because this member is already in the system, all of the information will automatically pop up. You can also use the drop-down arrows to locate the member name. And if you do not see the name that you're looking for, you just click Add New to create the new member name. Select the product and enter a description and the amount if needed. If a description or rate is entered for a product, then the description or amount will automatically fill in. QuickBooks provides you with options to email the invoice to the member or sponsor. You will need to have an email address entered. So you would enter the name. You can either do a quick save, or this is where you enter details with the email address, the company name, and any other information that you have. There are different tabs for billing address that's different from the company's address, a shipping address, any notes, tax information, if this customer is tax exempt. You can also enter in the state and the state tax amount. Payment and billing, payment method, if they're using cash, check, or credit card. You can print it later. Terms, if it's due up on receipt, if they're a net 30. Opening balance is if you're running a credit account with this customer. And you can attach files by clicking on the attachment button. You can click Save. You definitely want to make sure that you check this box, Print on Check, because if you use the display name or whatever name is here, this is what will print out on the check. So if you want the company name or the member name, you want to make sure this is filled out correctly. Otherwise, QuickBooks will just use the name you enter here for new customer if you just do a quick save. And again, if you wanted to email the invoice or customize the invoice, you can show shipping address, it's a deposit, transaction numbers, or add your own field that you would like here, and you can customize it. And this field will click in on your invoice. And you just want to make sure everything is filled out accordingly. So here's your products and service. You always want to enter in a description just so you'll know what your invoice is for, and as well as your members. Your rate, it automatically populates the amount total by the quantity and the rate. If it's taxable, it will show up the state and the tax rate for that state. If it's not taxable, you just want to unclick that box and it will not apply tax to it. You can also add messages to display on your invoice or messages to display on the statement. Now you can print or preview. You can make this a reoccurring invoice. Again, you can customize. Now when you go to save, you can either just hit save, it will save it. Save and send, which is how you email. Save and share the link, or you can save and close, or if you're entering multiple invoices, save and new. So it will save it and go to a new blank invoice. When you're trying to exit, if you have not saved already, it will ask you if you want to leave the invoice without saving. Yes or no. If you click no, it will not save any of your information that you entered. Now, receiving payments on outstanding invoices. Using the navigation bar, select members, and then select the member name from the list on the right side. You have an option to drop down the list and select the action to receive payment. So you will want to go to your Create menu. Your Create menu, you click on Receive Payment. Here's your drop down. Or you can search it by finding the invoice number You always want to make sure your payment date is correct. Your payment method. You want to verify that the deposit is going to the correct bank account, especially true if you're using multiple accounts. Any reference numbers will go here if they're paying by check. You will want to put the check number, and this is where you will be sending your payment, if it's to a checking account, and how much the payment. So for this sample, we do have an opening balance of $954. So let's say their payment is for $954. You click on the invoice. You make sure whatever their payment amount is, you enter it here, even if it's not the total of the actual invoice. It will apply the amount you put in payment. If you make a mistake, you can press clear payment. It will erase everything, and you can start over. But it is very important that you want to make sure that it's going to the correct bank account that you're receiving the payment to. We're going to go over receiving payments without invoices. So if funds come in without an invoice, or the chapter is not using invoices, deposits can be made by clicking on the Create menu, Bank Deposit. Then you want to verify that it's going to the correct bank if you have multiple banking accounts. If you need to add new accounts, as you see, you click here and you fill out all the above. You want to make sure your date is correct. Now you could select either member, sponsor, or type of name. QuickBooks will attempt to autofill if the start of the name or similar name is on the list. Then select the account number the deposit is for. This can be a revenue or liability account. In certain instances, there is an expense account. Fill in the memo field with a description that is appropriate, and then select check, cash, or cash in the payment method. And again, the reference number is usually the check number. If the chapter is using classes, then select the class. This would be your check number, and this is the amount. So it's telling you select a total of payments that you're receiving a deposit is $1675.52. Again, you can hit Save and New or Save and Close. Save and New is if you're making multiple deposits. You can make a reoccurring bank deposit if you just know that there's a particular deposit that's coming in scheduled. You can put it as a reminder. You can schedule it. It'll give you advance notice. You want to make sure you know what account it's going to and how often this reoccurring deposit will happen. So if it's weekly, every 2 weeks on a Friday. And when is it going to start? It will start on the 1st. It will end never, or let's just say it may end September 1st. You can save this template, or you could just print out the deposit slip. Now, types of AR transactions. Meeting revenue from HFMA. Checks received, we're going to go to deposits. So when you're meeting the revenue from HFMA, the checks received, let's say, is for, when meeting revenue from HFMA, let's say you have a check received for $950. This is the net amount. Registration revenue is $11.50, and HFMA's processing fee is $199. And it is recorded as gross amounts for those two. The payment from HFMA for processing of meeting payment fees using HFMA. Okay, meeting revenue from HFMA. So you're receiving a check. You want to make sure you know what account it's going to. Say it will be registration revenue. You definitely want to make sure your accounts are set up. Description, You definitely want to put the registration, that is registration revenue, your payment method. The amount you will put is $11.50. Now this is HFMA processing fee of $199. You enter as a negative, and then your total will come out to the $950.52. So that is how you record meeting your revenue with HFMA. You save and new, and your bank deposit of $950.52. Now your dues rebate from HFMA. Again, you want to go to your Create Menus list, Bank Deposit. You scroll down to Add Funds to this deposit. Receive from. Always want to make sure you know what account you are selecting. So in this case, it would be a dues rebate. And this should already be set up in yours. It's just not mine. Again, you don't have to set it up like I did. This is just a sample. You want to type in that it's dues rebate, your payment method, cash or check, your check number. Now, if you receive a check for $51.04.02, the amount is net the rebate. Dues rebate revenue of $56.95.50 and HFMA insurance fees of $591.48 are recorded as gross amount. So you record the $56.95.50, and this will be your insurance fees. You would enter as a negative amount. You hit the enter tab, and it will be recorded as the $51.04.02. Save and new or save and close. Now your deferred sponsorship or other revenue, we want you to, if your check is received for current year 2018 sponsor membership, again, we're going to go to the bank deposit, scroll down to add funds to this deposit. You will receive the annual meeting and no invoice was recreated. You create the deposit to deferred revenue account. Please include detailed memo information to make sure revenue is recognized in the correct period. So you would enter all of your detailed information here, or you can enter in the memo box. If you need to make attachments, you do so in this area. Now you create the deposit to deferred revenue, include the detailed memo information to make sure, again, it is recognized in the correct period. Now if you receive a check for an open sponsorship invoice to GE Healthcare for $5,000, you want to write that this is an open sponsorship in the year, your payment method, check, your check number, have your $5,000, and you would just go ahead and save it. Again, make sure you put your memos there. Now, the accounts payable. Options available. There is a one-step method using cash accounting method, immediately recognizing the expense by using the check or expense on the Create menu. The accrual accounting method will use a two-step process to track and manage the chapter's outstanding bills. This option uses bills to enter the bill, to enter the balance due, and to be paid later, and the pay bills as a two-step process. The one-step method, you go to your Create menu, and then you select Check or Expense. A check will be displayed on the screen. You enter in the date, your check number, your vendor's name, and assign a corresponding expense or revenue account. Check the bank account name to ensure withdrawal is being made on the correct cash account. Memo if you need any detailed memos, and again, attachments. Save and new, you can make reoccurring, or you can print the check right from this screen. This is how you also void a check. You click on More, you scroll all the way to the bottom, click on More, you click Void, and it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to void? Yes or no? Yes, Well, because we haven't entered anything here, but that is how you make voided checks. Another way to void checks is when you go to your chart of accounts, you view your register, say, hey, you have a check here. You could split your checks. I don't normally deleting checks, but you are able to delete. If you need to go to the check, it will show you the details of the check, which invoices it paid or what it paid for. You click on more and you can void it, delete it, or do an audit history on the check. Now, back to the accounts payables. This is your one-step method. Again, your account number or account, what are you paying? Advertising, you would put that, $350. Is it taxable or no? And you enter the customer. Save and new or save and close. Now the two-step method, we go to the create menu, click on bill. You choose your vendor, your terms if needed, bill number. You make sure you got your billing date and your due date, account, description amount, and your customer. Any memos if needed, again, attachments. Save new, or you can make it reoccurring. Now paying multiple bills, go to create menu, you pay your bill, and you want to make sure you select the correct checking account that you are using to issue checks to make these bill payments. Select all the bills you are paying in the check run, and then you select the payment method. If the checks are going to be printed or if the checks are written by hand. If the checks are printed, click on Pay and Print or Pay Bills if the checks are written by hand. So you can use the top button to click the entire list or you click individuals. And this is your save and print, save and close, or just save. And you see it tells you how many bills are open, how many are past due, and so on and so forth. Again, with the Pay Bills method, a good tool is to select Show All Bills. This option will show all outstanding payables. You can customize it how you want it applied. If there's credits applied, to be applied. Now the Pay Bill screen is used to clear journal entries and other credits on the invoice. Please note the amount due and credit columns on the Pay Bill screen. Click to select the vendor that can be paid or cleared from your outstanding list. So this is why it's important to use the actual functions of QuickBooks instead of doing journal entries because it's easier to track. Now we're going on to bank reconciliations. Now you want to reconcile your bank accounts. It's recommended that you do it monthly. Now you start to reconcile from the gear menu. Select appropriate cash account. You go under Tools, again, from your home screen, your dashboard, Gear, Tools, you click on Reconcile. Reconcile account. QuickBooks likes to walk you through things. You select which account you want to reconcile. You enter in your ending balance. Your beginning balance will be your ending balance from the previous reconciliation, which should have been the previous month. Your ending balance date. So let's say and we're going to use May 31st. So you're going to start reconciling. And this is what your reconciliation page looks like. So in section 1, you enter the bank statement date and your ending balance. We went over that. In section 2, you can enter any bank charges or interest earned. Select the appropriate account for these transactions and click OK to proceed. If you need to edit info, meaning your ending balance, ending date, hopefully you will get these right the first time and you do not want to edit them just to match You actually want to enter what's on your bank statement. It shows you the difference from your clear balance from the previous reconciliation to your current ending balance. Now you could click where it would just show payments, just deposits, or you can do all at the same time, whichever is easier for you. Now to reconcile, simply click the box next to each transaction if it has cleared the bank. So you want to click clear date, the date it cleared, make sure it's the right payee, the correct amount, and you save it. Otherwise, you just click this amount. Well, this will click all, which you do not want to do. So you want to click each individual. And as you see, QuickBooks do the calculations for you. Now this is also, it's showing payments and deposits. And you see your balance is changing for each transaction we're clicking on. So theoretically, you want to see it be 0. Well, of course, I don't think we're going to make it become 0 right now. Now you can save and finish later. So if you have a lot of transactions, you can go ahead and click what's cleared throughout the month. And you can save it. If you're just trying to check and see if it will balance out, you can close without saving, or you can finish now, which is your actual reconciliation. Now, if you notice the out of balance at the top of the screen here, it automatically calculates, like I said, as you clear the items. So if you just want to save it for later and come back to it once you figure out what's going on, that's always the best recommendation. However, you must click the Finish button when balanced, so QuickBooks will post the reconciliation. If you are out of balance and click Finish, QuickBooks will make an adjusting entry for you. You do not have to go and make the journal entry. QuickBooks will make an adjusting entries with the cash account on one side of the entry and retained earnings as the other side of the entry. This will create a problem. Do not let QuickBooks make an automatic balance entry, meaning you want your reconciliation to balance. If you really do need to make an adjustment, click Make Adjustment Transaction link. Now, this process will still make the exact same entry, cash to the retained earnings, but you can open the transaction right here in the bank reconciliation and change the account number. This process allows you to enter many transactions on the bank statement that had not been previously entered in QuickBooks. Example, multiple bank charges you want to enter individually. You can continue recording additional transactions if needed. If you discover there are transactions that were not recorded into QuickBooks, example, manual checks not entered, deposits not recorded, etc., go to the appropriate area of QuickBooks to enter the transactions, click Save for Later, and then you return back to the bank reconciliation to balance it. When balanced, click your Finish button, and your reconciliation report will appear. Which, let's try to edit this so we can try to balance out. Again, you do not want to do what I'm doing right now. You want your balance to balance out. So we have 80 cents. We're going to click Finish Now. It tells you, hey, hold on, your difference isn't 0 yet. It gives you a warning. Now you can go back, put your adjustment date in, or adjust and finish. This is what will do your journal entry. View your report, and here's your statement. Shows you the adjustments that were made, uncleared, registered balance. It does separate your uncleared checks and payments and everything else. You can print this report, summary, or you can go back to reconcile it again. Now, this report should be printed and attached to the bank statement. Note, QuickBooks Online does not offer an option to store various bank reconciliation reports. So make sure you print your report when complete. Again, it'll give you a history of the account. So this is how you know when it was last reconciled. If you're not sure if your bank accounts have been reconciled, this is a good way to show when it was the last time. So that concludes our session for today. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact HFMA. Thank you.